Interest rates are on the rise. If you're a buyer, what does that mean for you? We'll talk about that coming up next. Hey, what's going on, friends? Interest rates are on the rise. It's all over the news. But what does that mean for you as a buyer? We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you some examples of how that affects your payment. Because although buyers kind of think they buy on the purchase price of a home, they really buy on the monthly payment. And there's four primary things that affect the monthly payment. One is the cost of the home. Two are the property taxes. Three, the cost of insurance. And the fourth one is the interest rate, because that's going to dramatically affect how much you pay monthly towards that mortgage. So we're going to jump into some numbers and some charts, and I'm going to show you what a difference in interest rates mean for the same house or the different house based on the price, because the interest rate is going to change the monthly payment. So now let's take a look at the charts. All right, so we got three different scenarios to look at here. The first one is kind of that $210,000 to $290,000 home and what the difference in costs are based on the interest rate. So what we're looking at here is a 5% to a 6.25% interest rate. So if we compare the cost of the monthly payment, if you look at a 5% interest rate, your cost would be $1,500 a month. But if you wanted to stay at that $1,500 a month and the interest rate rises, and we look up here to 6%, you really would only be able to afford a $250,000 house. So at a 5% interest rate, at $1,500 a month, you could buy a $290,000 house. But if the interest rate goes up to 6%, you would really only be able to afford a $250,000 house. So that's a $40,000 reduction in the amount of home that you can purchase. And so that doesn't seem that dramatic, but as we go up in the price ranges, and now we look at more of around a $400,000 price range, we see that gap continues to grow. So at a 5% interest rate, we're looking at a $2,800 a month, almost $2,900 a month payment. But if the interest rate goes up to 6%, now we're looking at a payment the same, $2,900, but a $500,000 house, right? So we can buy a $540,000 house at a 5% interest rate if we want to cap out at a $2,900 a month payment. But if we go up to 6% interest rate, now that same $2,900 a month only gets us a $500,000 house. So we continue to see a reduction in the amount of power that we have to buy based on whatever the interest rate is. And then if we bump up to even a higher price point, so we're talking about the $1 million range, if we're looking at a $5,500 a month payment for a $1.04 million home, if we want to stay at that $5,500 a month and we move up to a 6% interest rate, really we would be under a $690,000 house, right? We wouldn't be able to afford a $960,000 house. So we would be, $80,000 less in buying power, $80,000 plus less in buying power based on the interest rate going up by 1%. So it's an important factor. It's something that we've been talking about for a while now, that there's really no benefit to waiting. If the prices continue to rise and interest rates go up, your cost of buying a home is going to go up dramatically, and you may be able to afford less house. And the most important thing to consider right now in this market is if you are pre-qualified, and maybe you pre-qualified a month or two or three ago and you've been shopping all this time, is to make sure you update your file with your loan officer, because you may not be able to afford the same amount of house that you did 3-4 months ago, and that could cause some disappointment, where we're seeing in the market now where people are getting into escrow based on a pre-qualification letter from a few months ago, and when they rerun the numbers, they no longer qualify for that home because the monthly cost has gone up significantly with the interest rate rise. So check with your loan officer, make sure you're updating and keeping your files current, keeping your pre-qualification letter current, because we're in definitely a time where rates are going to continue to rise. We're hearing daily now that the Fed continues to push the rates higher. And so historically, still very low rates. If you look at it historically, don't freak out. There's nothing to be alarmed about. But the reality is it is going to affect your monthly payment on a mortgage, and you got to take that into account. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments below or email me at dylan@buybigisland.com and we'll get back to you. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Aloha.